Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Maximus the Fourth. What I have here to your guys' left is a bottle of Pepsi Cherry from Ukraine. And then what I have to your guys' right is the very first ever branded cherry flavor of Pepsi that came out in the entire world. Cherry Pepsi from Ontario, Canada. The title of today's video is going to be, is Pepsi Cherry from Ukraine the same as original Cherry Pepsi? Now, part of the reason why this video exists is because 6 months ago, I originally did a comparison between Wild Cherry Pepsi to Pepsi Wild Cherry. And for those of you that don't know the history on this, Wild Cherry Pepsi is actually the original Pepsi Wild Cherry that came out in 1988. And in 2005, it was reformulated to this. Still had the same ingredients, but just a different formula. But as time has passed by, I thought it would be fun to dig deeper with my creativity. And after doing some searching on eBay, I was indeed able to find a Pepsi Cherry from Ukraine, which the title is very close to the original cherry flavor of Pepsi from Ontario, Canada, in Cherry Pepsi. Get it? The words are flip-flopped. Pepsi Cherry, Cherry Pepsi. Wild Cherry Pepsi, Pepsi Wild Cherry. So, let's dig in. So the first thing to do obviously would be to do an ingredients comparison between these. And let's just go ahead and do the Cherry Pepsi first. Carbonated water, sugar, and it says color only. Is that caramel color? It just says color. Phosphoric acid, citric acids, and it says phosphoric acid and citric acids, caffeine, and then it simply just says flavor. It doesn't say natural flavor or artificial flavor. So as I can clearly see in how they had wrote color on the original Cherry Pepsi and just simply flavor at the very bottom, that was a pretty sloppy way for them to place both of the coloring in the flavor. It doesn't tell you if this is natural flavor or if it's artificial. It just says flavor. It doesn't tell you if it's caramel color. It just says color. But we must assume that it's probably caramel color because this had the same color as this or this or this. Now, taking a look at the Ukraine Pepsi Cherry, it reads carbonated water, high fructose corn syrup and or sugar, caramel color, phosphoric acid, caffeine, and then citric acid and natural flavoring. Much more smooth. Now here are the differences between these two. The Ukraine Cherry Pepsi has high fructose corn syrup and or sugar. The Cherry Pepsi has just sugar. The Pepsi Cherry from Ukraine has less citric acid in it than this, and they both have the same caffeine content from what I can see. So at the end of the day, is Pepsi Cherry the same as Cherry Pepsi? No, it's not. So process of elimination here. Let's go ahead and scan and compare Pepsi Cherry to what we all know today in the States as Pepsi Wild Cherry. So they both have carbonated water. The Ukraine has high fructose corn syrup and or sugar, where the Pepsi Wild Cherry has high fructose corn syrup, and then it skips down to ingredient number 4 and says it also has sugar. It definitely does not say that on the Ukraine Pepsi Cherry. They both have caramel color at ingredient number 3, and then the Pepsi Wild Cherry has less phosphoric acid than the Pepsi Cherry from Ukraine. And the Ukraine Pepsi Cherry has much more caffeine in it than the Pepsi Wild Cherry. And Pepsi Cherry has more citric acid in it than this. And it looks like they have the same natural flavors in it, but even that's confusing because Pepsi Wild Cherry, it just says natural flavor on ingredient number 6, whereas the Pepsi Cherry from Ukraine, it says citric acid and natural flavoring at number 6, but there's 2 on number 6 instead of just 1. So this clearly is not the closest thing to Pepsi Cherry from Ukraine. Let's keep going here. Now, before we scan these two to find out just how close alike they are, I thought I would point out to you that the thing that's very unique about this Pepsi Cherry from Ukraine is that on the cap, it has the same old Pepsi logo that this Wild Cherry Pepsi has, and basically what Pepsi's old logo looked like even in the mid-2000s and early 2000s. So I thought that that was pretty cool. See? Way different. Different. Now, let's get to the ingredient scan on these two. Okay, so they both have carbonated water. They both have high fructose corn syrup and or sugar on ingredient number 2. They both have caramel color. They both have phosphoric acid. So far, the first 4 ingredients on both of these are completely identical. And then, ingredient number 5 on Pepsi Cherry says caffeine, whereas ingredient number 5 on this is natural flavors. Ingredient number 6 on this is citric acid and natural flavoring. And then ingredient number 6 is caffeine on this. So the Ukraine Pepsi Cherry has more caffeine in it than the original Wild Cherry Pepsi, which is very impressive because this one had more caffeine in it than this. And then the final ingredient that is in the original Wild Cherry Pepsi from the States is simply just citric acid, where the Ukraine Pepsi Cherry shares ingredient number 6 with both citric acid and natural flavoring. So these are very, very close. There's some slight differences, but I dare say that if you can get your hands on a Pepsi Cherry, it might be the closest thing to an original Wild Cherry Pepsi that you can get your hands on. But you guys know how it goes. There's only one way to find out. Let's open this freaking thing once and for all and see what the moment of truth brings. Let's see if I can get this thing opened up on camera here. There we go. Now, I do remember what the Wild Cherry Pepsi tastes like. It had a very strong caffeinated type of a vibe to it. And so I definitely have a good idea. It even has a similar taste to cherry cola slice. Let's just try this freaking thing once and for all. I'm excited. Whoa! That is wicked! Oh my gosh! That has got such a wicked flavor. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to make of that. That is wild. Let's take a sip of the modern day Pepsi Wild Cherry. Okay, I immediately got this. This is freaking insane. So, with Pepsi Wild Cherry, it has a very processed taste. It's very good, but it doesn't taste that natural, even though it says... Let's skip that. I don't want to get mixed up here. It just tastes a lot more processed and artificial. But this one, oh my gosh. Let's try this again. Oh my goodness, man. What this kind of tastes like is, you know how you can buy those dyed red cherries that are in a jar? Those decorative cherries that you put on ice cream sundaes? It tastes a lot like that. And you can absolutely taste the cherry in this. And it tastes very, very natural. Kind of processed because it's hard to get an exact natural flavor, but you would be very surprised. This is very robust, and I can't even believe I'm trying this right now. When I tried the original wild cherry Pepsi 6 months ago, I feel like the caffeine that was in it kind of blocked some of the cherry flavor. You could still taste the cherry, but another thing that made this one kind of hard to detect in what it actually might taste like if it were a fresh can was that this thing was about 20 years old. I think this can is from 2003 of December 13th. But out of the entire Pepsi Cherry series that I've done on my channel, I would for sure say that Pepsi Cherry is the best tasting one out of them all. That, oh man, that exploded with flavor in my mouth. I couldn't even believe that. Get on. So, where do we go from here? At the end of the day, is Pepsi Cherry the same as original Cherry Pepsi? No, it is absolutely not. And it is much closer to the original Wild Cherry Pepsi that first came out in 1988 in the States than anything. For those of you who have never tried a Pepsi Cherry, get on eBay, type in Pepsi Cherry, and buy a bottle from that Ukraine seller. That is one heck of an experience. And at the end of the day, I would have to give Pepsi Cherry a very strong 10 out of 10. I can't even believe what I just tasted. Oh my gosh. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you share this video with a buddy. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you leave a comment down below to help boost the algorithm. Also, if this is your first time watching Maximus the Fourth, maybe it's not, maybe you need something else to do, make sure you check out my video, Black Cherry Cola Soda Shop 2-liter chug, where I took on a 2-liter chug of that soda out of the 2-liter DOS boot. And for more extras, even ways to support this channel here at Maximus the Fourth, just read through the description down below very thoroughly. And I will also make sure to link that video, Black Cherry Cola Soda Shop 2-liter chug, down in the description of this video. Maximus the Fourth here. I am signing out. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.